and welcome to the Economy This Week series of Drishti IAS. I am Ritu and today's session is about important economic events which had happened in the past week, and this session is important for your GS 3 perspective. So moving towards the points of discussion part. So first of all, we are going to discuss the India-EU European Union Free Trade Agreement. Then we are going to discuss about India high income status by 2047. Who has said that? We are going to discuss in the further slides, and then we are going to discuss about India fastest growing economy and which organization has said it. This also we are going to discuss in today's session. Also, I am going to briefly talk about the SEBI chief. We had already covered this particular topic in news series, so do check that. But you already know that Tuhin Kumar Pandey has been appointed as new SEBI chief. So do revise the functions and what are the concerns related to the SEBI. So the first topic is India-EU FTA. India-EU to conclude FTA this year. So as you already know that there was a meeting with European Union along with the India. So here we are going to discuss this thing. India and the European Union on Friday decided to conclude their much awaited free trade agreement by the end of 2025 and finalize a blueprint of increased collaboration in broad range of areas such as trade, mobility, technology and investment. So in changing geopolitical circumstances, it's very important to mend and it's very important to stabilize our relationship with every country, every continent, so that there will be a trade surplus, there will be a balance of economy from every aspect. Now we are going to discuss that what that agreement and what are the trade relation we have with the European Union. So India's trade in goods with the European Union is this is for 2023 and 4 data, $137.41 billion, exports $75.9 billion, imports $61.4 billion, trade in services in 2023 $51.45 billion. So here we can see that our export number is still higher, and India-EU FTA will be the largest trade deal of its kind. Then a geopolitical context. So as you already know that there are so many geopolitical tensions are going around the world, and India and EU both face the risk of higher import duties from the US. As you already know that US is announcing tariffs on every kind of the thing. So there are chances that they both are susceptible about the US policies, and EU and US are also divided over the political stance on Ukraine relation with Russia. So this can be also one of the things that we need to find out other trade opportunity and other economic opportunities. Here we have some more points. Security and defense cooperation, both sides will enhance collaboration areas like cyber security, maritime security, undersea data cables and joint naval exercises. And also they are planning to diversify defense supplies and boost military cooperation. Here what is the biggest advantage we have with the EU, that this is a group of countries. So if we are making treaty with any kind of the EU, it means that we are making treaty with all those nations who are associated with the EU. So directly or indirectly, it can be a multilateral benefit for India. And technology and AI collaboration, increased cooperation in semiconductors, AI, high performance computing and 6G also, AI to be applied in climate change, natural hazard management and bioinformatics, launch of joint task force on green hydrogen. So these are the areas they are working on to the AI, they are working on to the climate change, they are also working on to the defense areas. So what here we can see that they are working on to all aspects. Now we are going to discuss mobility and talent exchange. So as you already know that India's so much diaspora works into various European countries. So here we need to focus on that how to exchange our talents and resources. It means that if we are sending our talented people to cooperate them, then we also need talented people from their countries to cooperate in areas which we required of. So the mobility agreement will facilitate student and skilled workers exchange between India and EU aim to close Europe's talent gap and boost competitiveness. Then they are also going to work on digital public infrastructure interoperability. India's Aadhaar and EU's digital wallet may be aligned for seamless public and private access for 2 billion citizens. And also, recently we had also discussed about India Middle East Europe economic corridor. So they are also going to work onto this particular thing. India and EU will take concrete steps to advance this connectivity project. Due to some political reason, this project had been stalled, but right now they are talking to restart this project. And for future roadmap, a new strategic roadmap beyond 2025 will be launched at the next India-EU summit. So here we have seen that they are going to focus on the defense, they are going to focus on technology, they are going to focus on the talent, they are also going to focus on the diaspora. So they are working onto every platform so that we can collaborate with each other. So coming to the next one, which is about India's high income status by 2047, and which organization has said this? So World Bank has said this. So today's session is more about to know India's performance, that when India will become a high income countries, and what is the current pace of growth of India. Will India is a fastest growing economy or not? So our main focus is towards India's economic growth. So that's why we had also discussed in context of European Union, that with the help of European Union, how we are able to become a fastest growing economy, and what World Bank is saying about India. So India should focus on accelerated reforms to speed up growth, achieve high income status by 2047, World Bank. So as you already know that our country is envisioning that we are going to become Viksit Bharat, it means developed India, by 2047. So World Bank has suggested that if we are going to work onto certain areas, then we are definitely we will be a Viksit Bharat or developed country. So India would need to grow by 7.8% on average over next 22 years to achieve country's aspiration of reaching high income status by 2047, said the World Bank in a report released on Friday. So this is about the World Bank, that if India will grow by 7.8% on an average over next 22 years, then India will definitely become and will be included under the high income countries. So coming to the key recommendation for economic growth, increase investment. So it has been suggested by the World Bank that we need to increase investment, raise private and public investment from 33.5% to 40% of GDP by 2035, boost job creation, improve labor force participation from 56.4% to 65%. Also, we need to give more focus to the female labor force participation, and we have to increase from 35.6% to 50% by 2047. And structural transformation, shift labor and capital from agriculture, which employs 45% of workforce, to manufacturing and services for better productivity. So you already know that we have our what you can say labor force participation is low, because most of the time women are not part of the labor economy, and if they are part of the labor economy, their labor is not counted or monetized. Second thing is that we have to also think that India is agriculture based countries. So most of the people are engaged in agricultural activities, but sometimes agriculture feels like that it is overemployed. So we need to take all those labor force into the manufacturing sector. So in that way, we will be able to achieve the high income status by 2047. Then we have state level growth strategy. Less developed states should focus on health, education, infrastructure. Suppose that we have Bihar, we have Jharkhand, Odisha. So they need to more focus on the health, education, infrastructure. Developed states should work on business reforms, deeper global trade participation. So mostly the southern states are what you can say developed states. So they need to focus on the business reforms, deeper global trade participation. So this is about the World Bank suggestions to India. Then lessons from the other countries. So World Bank has also suggested that we need to take inspiration from Chile, Korea, Poland, shows that global economic integration plays a key role in transitioning to a high income economy. So we had already discussed that we are making plans with European Union, and time to time we make plans with other countries. So global participation is needed, and India is actively working towards that direction. And India's current growth status, so India's average growth has been 6.3%. So here we have to do it by this much, and 7.2% in the last 3 years. To sustain 7.8 growth, India must accelerate and reforms and focus in human capital, trade and technology adoption. So we have this technology divide in rural areas. We do know this thing that we have technology, we have AI, and we are using AI in different sectors, but still in rural areas people are lacking such kind of technological expertise. There is a technological divide between gender. So we need to work into this. We have to make reforms. We have labor codes, but that labor codes are not strictly implemented. So we need to work on our human capital also, and we have to see that in any areas the people should not be overemployed. Now we are going to discuss about next topic, which is about India's fastest growing economy, IMF. So IMF has said this. So India to remain fastest growing major economy with 6.5% growth in financial year 26, the IMF has said about the India. So multilateral financing agency International Monetary Fund has said that India will retain its position as the fastest growing major economy by clocking a GDP growth of 6.5% in 2025 and 6 on the back of robust private investment and macroeconomic stability. So on to what basis the IMF has said this? Let's discuss here. So here growth forecast. India's GDP is projected to grow by 6.5% in 2024 and 5 and 2025 and 6. So driven by private investments and macroeconomic stability, growth remains strong despite recent moderation. Structural reforms needed, as World Bank has also suggested that we need structural reforms to achieve advanced economic status by 2047. So India must focus on labor market reforms, human capital development, increasing women workforce participation and boosting private investment and FDI. So here two things are similar from World Bank and what you can say IMF, that they both are saying that we need reforms, we need to work on human capital, and here we have to also work on the women's participation in workforce. Also they had suggested that we need to boost our private investment and FDI. So we need to attract foreign direct investment in order to boost certain areas. So these are the areas because there we are lacking into these kind of the areas. So we had to definitely work if we want to become a what you can say developed nation by 2047. So here we'll also discuss some more points. Macroeconomic stability. So inflation within RBI's target range 2.6%, though food prices remain volatile. As you already know the market conditions, sometimes in terms of food prices, sometimes we are stable, sometimes we are very much high, sometimes. So this kind of volatility is there into the Indian economy in terms of inflation. So here we have to also check. We have to also check to the fiscal consolidation and low non-performing loans strengthen financial resilience. Current account deficit remain controlled, supported by strong services exports. And we have to also think about trade and investment policy. IMF recommends reducing tariffs and non-tariff barriers, improving ease of doing business and strengthening governance reforms to attract FDI. So what is the major highlights about all the discussion is that we had thoroughly discussed about India to become Viksit Bharat by 2047, and for that we need to improve our economy in terms of the human capital formation, in terms of the women labor force participation, in terms of the private investment, in terms of the attracting of the foreign direct investment, in terms of strengthening our secondary sectors, in terms of looking for the agricultural areas that people should not be overemployed. We need to adopt technology, we need to remove technological barriers from the economy, we need to focus on the more stability path, and we have certain differences in areas Our services sectors are performing well, but we have to focus on our primary sector and secondary sector. So this is the whole part of the discussion, and in the India-EU agreement, you already have seen that we are working towards trade, we are working towards the defense, we are working towards the technology. So all these topics are interrelated with each other. And in the introduction session, I have already told you that there is an appointment of SEBI chief. So we have few challenges in front of the SEBI chief because our market conditions are volatile. So we have to tackle all those problems to become Viksit Bharat by 2047. Now we are going to discuss the question. As per the IMF, which of the following reforms are crucial for the India's long-term growth? Labor market reforms, increasing female workforce participation, expanding financial sector regulations, boosting FDI through governance reforms. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. 1 and 2 only, 1, 2 and 4 only, 2 and 3 only, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you can answer into the comment section. Now we are going to discuss the next one. The World Bank's report on India's economic growth recommends which of the following structural reforms? Increasing labor force participation, raising investment from 33.5% to 40% of the GDP, focusing on high income states for rapid economic growth, enhancing participation in global trade and manufacturing. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. 1 and 2 only, 2 and 4 only, 1, 2 and 4 only, 1, 2, 3 and 4. You can answer into the comment section. Then we are going to discuss about the, consider the following statement regarding the India-EU Free Trade Agreement. FTA is expected to be concluded by the end of 2025. India and EU are also negotiating agreements on investment, protection, geographical indications. The EU is India's largest trading partner in terms of total trade volume. Which of the statement given above is are correct? 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, 1, 2 and 3. So you can answer into the comment section, and I hope you like this session. If you have any queries related to this session, kindly ask into the comment section and do revise all these topics. This can be very useful for your mains perspective, that in which area we have to work to become Viksit Bharat 2047. What is IMF is saying? You can quote IMF. You can also quote the report given by the World Bank, that what they are predicting about the India's economic growth. And also I have already told you that SEBI is very much important for your prelims examination. So do revise SEBI function, when SEBI was established. Thank you. Have a nice day. Also, you already know that Holi sale is there. So we are starting the Holi sale. So you can call on to the number 87501, 87501. Thank you. Have a nice day.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.